Hi friends! If you wanted to click to check out what I bought from the Barnes birthday 25% off flash sale, then please keep on watching. Hi, my name is Alicia. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things all movement and beauté. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeups, you can head over to my Instagram. I saw that Barnes was having a flash 25% off sale, and many of you were asking my opinion on his brushes, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't got his brushes, and I was waiting for a sale. There's a flash 20% off sale still running, and was running before the 25% off kicked in, and I just got this email, and some of you messaged me and you were like, hey, Barnes is running a sale on his website. I was like, oh, is he now? My girl Julie was so nice to send this to me for Christmas, and then I caved and got the sculpting contour palette maybe like a few weeks after. And for this particular sale, I picked up the Showy and Glowy highlighter palette. Well, funny, and my girl reached out to say, hey, the sale's going on, did you pick up Glowy and Showy? And I'm like, I'm gonna hold off about Glowy and Showy. And she was like, you know, it is phenomenal. I'm like, so I ordered this right after I ordered the eyeshadow palette and the brushes. Didn't get to apply the 25% off that because I think I used it already on the same email. But I did get 20% off the Showy and Glowy palette. And man, oh man, I already swatched some of these and I actually tried some of them on. First of all, I love this packaging. I love the packaging on all his palettes, but this specifically, so good. And when you open it, I mean, you have a ton of different highlighters in here. So many tones, I think really versatile to use. Keep in mind, these palettes are designed for pros, right? That's why there is so much makeup in them. I think far too much for one individual to use, even as a makeup enthusiast like myself. But my makeup obsession just gives me motivation to do so anyway. In addition to Glowy and Showy, I also picked up Color Bomb. Right now, Snatural is out of stock, I'm sure because of that birthday sale that went through. Between the Rust palette and the Artist Couture Supreme Muse and all the other Snatural shades that I probably have in my collection, I held off on it. I was more intrigued by the Color Bomb simply because I wanted to see how he did with like the yellows, the blues, and the purples. Like this piques my interest a little bit more, and I actually want to film a dedicated video using this palette. We'll play with a couple of shadows in this video. I'm not going to zoom in close because this is more like a quick try on haul. So that video is coming. I also ordered a few of his brushes. I'm bummed that I did not get one of his eyeshadow blender brushes. That one was sold out, but I managed to get the, I think, 64 powder brush, the 63 winged brush, the 60 lip and eye brush. I was very intrigued by this shape. I thought this would be killer for smoky wing. The coveted 65, I think this is like a blender, really soft, but I think the shape is very unique. And the 66 brush, that's like a specially designed wispy half fan type of a brush. I thought that was really cool to have. I have my other brushes on standby. For instance, I have the Wayne Goss 25S synthetic powder brush just to kind of compare, and of course one of my Tuckahoe brushes that I feel like no matter what Scott does, it's not going to replace my Tuckahoe brushes, but I still want to give them a shot. I am on the Barnes site right now. Wanted to go over a couple of details for each palette. Originally, the Glowy and Showy palette retails for $68, and I got 20% off of that. Carefully crafted pigments designed by Scott mixed together so you can create your perfect highlighter tone without overdoing one color. I see. Glowy and Showy's large pans put you in control of your highlights with specifically chosen hues of yellow and pink. Often highlighter palettes ignore the yellow and pink hue of people's skin by using muted or random color options, limiting users to 2 or 3 options to correctly hue shift. Scott's highlighter palette is born from this understanding of yellow and pink, giving you more diverse options to hue shift your skin. Yes, hue shift. And highlights to the exact color needed. Glowy and Showy gives you ultimate highlighter control with extremely minimal fallout and kickback on the brush. High color payoff in being blending friendly. Glowy and Showy is a masterfully crafted and extremely considerate. You're so considerate. Highlighter palette. The formulas produce the most luxurious sheens and pigments with a sophistication rarely seen in highlighter palettes. Oh, well, I have to say, the formula is quite special in that very shiny, but thin. It's not textured at all. Very skin-like, I have to say. And although, like I mentioned before, this is designed to be for a pro, it's nice that you can mix and match these so you can get your most beautiful hue. I love how they feel on the skin. You see the shine, but they don't look textured. And I tried this on, and these powders really melt into your skin. And even with a brush, if you want to quickly see, when you tap it in, there is minimal fallout. There's practically, I mean, virtually none. If anything, very light. But look at that beautiful sheen. And the texture, it is, as he said, very sophisticated. So we'll dip into that a little more. For the Color Bomb palette, so let's see, $84. His eyeshadow palettes are expensive. Natural is $84 too, but I got 25% off. The Color Bomb, where'd I put it? I found it. Here it is. The Scott Barnes Color Bomb eyeshadow palette is an explosion of color. It's Scott's personal take on bright color palette with tones properly crafted together in pairs and in fours. Okay. Look. Color Bomb was directly inspired from Scott's previous editorials on famous celebrities and is Scott's way of giving back to the makeup community with some of the iconic colors of his past. Often bright, quote-unquote, palettes fall into primary color patterns lacking strategic placement with unbridled neons. Color Bomb is a masterfully crafted color palette for the runway and the everyday, made of colors we know people love and colors we know will take us into the future. Bing! With extremely minimal fallout and kickback on the brush, high color payoff, and being blending friendly, yes, like the highlighter palette, it should almost be called Color Dream. Formulas are some of the best available, developed for a luxurious color transformation that's packed with flirtatious fun. Okay, really excited to get into this briefly in this video. Let's now head over to the brushes. Number 65, the Flawless Face Pro Brush retails for $42. Densely packed bristles that mimic squirrel hair and the rounded off fan shape and thickness are the perfect recipe for picking up powder and bronzer with precision. The brush you can't live without, as Scott said. With a 65, you can use it for contouring, bronzing, toasting edges, and buffing. It's truly a multi-purpose tool to create that flawless look, whether it's your initial application or you want that finished buffed look. Okay, cruelty-free, 100% in synthetic fibers, all wood handle, aluminum ferrule, stapled multiple fiber textured round tip, no shedding, does not change shape. 64, the highlighter brush. There is a powder brush. I named this the powder brush, did not get that one. This is the highlighter brush. Oh. Number 64, $32. It's the Dream Blush Highlighter and Contour Applicator with a tapered tip for added precision over your standard oversized blush applicator. As one of Scott's favorites, he uses multiple number 64s as his go-to for powder as well as for under the and inner eye. Okay, the tightness of the highly packed tip allows for precision pressing and smudging. For the thicker base allows you to still get the fullness you are accustomed to with a blush brush. All right, mimics squirrel hair, which makes the best texture for the most efficient makeup pickup and lay down. For the 64, you could use it for applying and swirling blush, highlighter, and powder. It is a great applicator for the under eye and inner eye in addition to the cheekbones. This is the brush most pro makeup artists have multiples of because of its ability to maintain precision while covering a lot of facial real estate quickly. All right, good to know. And the last face brush I have is the 66 Sheer Powder Sheer Pro Brush. Retails for $42, and this is a highly useful powder applicator with a looser packing for those with more sensitive skin or for those who prefer a light touch while maintaining full application. It is unique because it leads with smaller bristles, followed by the sweeping of the larger bristles behind it, giving you the smoothest, non-streaking powder setting possible. You could use this brush for highlighting, contouring, bronzing, toasting edges, and buffing. Multi-purpose tool to create a rich and full look. Delicacy of the fibers and the softness make this the ultimate tool for applying the sexiest and most refined powder areas possible. Last two we got, these are eye brushes. I want to read on the 63 Eye winger. This retails for $24, and with a never before seen design, smoky wing, patent pending, is an eye blender but with one of a kind ergonomic wing design, allowing for precision finger rolling of the brush without the eyelid and an anchored wrist. Personal favorite of Scott's, perfect sweeps, wing movements while fitting perfectly into the natural eyelid crease. Oh yes, this is a really nice smoothing brush. With the 63, you can use it for blending and application of eyeshadow, eyelids, and creases along the nose and around the eyes. For contouring, its design allows you a winged flick up and out easily with an anchored wrist. That brush really feels good. It feels almost like a natural hair brush. So the fibers used for this brush specifically, I really like. Not the same as like my Z11, but for synthetic, I'll take it. And lastly, we have the number 60 Lip and Eye Duality Liner. A slightly thicker and rounded edge version of the 59. This brush, while still densely packed and non-shape shifting, provides a soft enough and thick enough rounded edge to allow smudging. The rounded blunt edge allows for flexibility while flicking upwards into the eye area and allows you to still smudge small spots areas without having to switch to another brush. This brush is also incredible for filling out lips while still maintaining enough precision and edge detail. You can apply eyeshadow, smoothly transition colors. This will be great to smudge out pencil for cut creases. Not that I'm going to be doing a ton of cut creases on this channel, but it's good to know I can. Used for brows, and you'll find this application most appealing and by far a great main brush for those who want to perfect their lips with the perfect gloss. Oh right. And he provides instructions on how to clean his brushes, so I really appreciate the thorough descriptions. I am a product knowledge nerd. I would like to make sure I know how the products work, how the creators' intentions are. I want to make sure I'm on the same page with them, because I often fall into the assumption category and I'm like, well, it must be for this, and he must be, or she must, or they might be thinking of that, but I need to read up on it. You know what I'm saying, fam? Why don't you come in a little closer? That's enough. Don't have any foundation on the face, but I wanted to use the 65 Flawless Face Brush to see how it goes with that. I'm gonna mix my Mented L30 Skin My Mented foundation stick with my Tom Ford 6.5 Sable, because this is like my exact skin color, but I still want to use the Mented because I actually really love the consistency of this stick. It's a little drier than the Tom Ford, but let's see what we can do with both. So I have the mixture on the back of my hand, but I'll apply Sable on the center of my face and reserve the new shade for the outer perimeters of my face. Let's take our new shade and start buffing that onto the skin. So I really love this brush. Hear me out, fam. Synthetic brushes, I feel, are ideal for cream and liquid applications simply because they're synthetic fibers, right? They're not going to absorb product like a natural fiber would, and the natural fibers have cuticles on them, so they're going to grab and soak up product, whereas a synthetic brush is going to lay down more product onto the skin. And these fibers are very soft. I love how I can punch it on. It doesn't feel prickly. And the design of the brush, I feel, makes it really nice to use to buff on foundation. Could only imagine really much so for contour, which I think will probably be, I know I just said don't assume, Alicia, but just from his tutorial videos I've seen, he uses this a lot for contouring, and it just feels really easy to place where you need it. LM14 from Mama Pat with Dior's 3N. I'm using that to spot treat, and I'm going in with my Zoeva 146 brush just to get a little more concentrated concealer placement on all these blemishes I got. I'm gonna get this one here on the forehead. I think that looks really great. It pretty much melted the foundation stick product onto my skin, and I felt it was pretty easy to apply and got the job done really fast. Oh, what to use, fam. So many cream products. I'm gonna do a little bit of both. I'll go in with my Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate in Intensity 1 and buff that out with the Fenty Cream Bronzer in Macchiato. I'm gonna do like my girl Kelsey Brianna J. I'm gonna take some with the tool. I mean, she's right. This is the more sanitary way to go about it, but I'm nasty, so. Taking the Flawless Face with my Tom Ford and just buffing it in. Now, I would never do this because I feel I don't want to move anything, but I feel that was pretty easy to apply. I probably don't need the macchiato at all. I'm just putting the leftover out of my finger. I probably would not use this with powder, however. I feel it's a little too dense for powder application. I'd rather use something more fluffy like my Tuckahoe brush or even my Sonia, Wayne, or Surratt brushes for powder application. I feel this is just a little too densely packed because I like to whip and swirl my powders on. I took this a little too far down. And just whip that away. Oh, that's better. Let's see what macchiato does on top of the Intensity 1. Give a little something something. I like that combination a lot. Now, you do not need both products. I just happen to have both, and since I have so much makeup now, if I have time to combine and to, you know, do all these concoctions, then I'm just taking advantage of that fact. I didn't do my concealer yet because I then used the concealer to buff away any edges of the bronzer product that might have gotten out of hand. Mama Pat's LM13 right here. Okay. Let's see. What would this do? Oh, maybe not the greatest for, oh, maybe not so much. That's not bad. It's not ideal simply because I need something a little more dense to get the majority of the color here right under the eye. I know that was meant to be used for powder, but because it's synthetic, I just wanted to see what would happen. All right, fam? Don't get mad at me. Like, Alicia, you're not supposed to use it like that. I'm like, I know that, but I like to experiment, okay? What I will say that I'll get the majority of the concealer under my eye with the smaller brush and then go in with the Flawless Face to buff out the lower edges of that concealer application. And then I could also use whatever, sorry mirror, I have left on the brush under the bronzer. I think that's a good strategy. This is a little too big to use right under the eye, but perfect for this area of the under eye. It's always good to go in with the finger tap just in case. Going with a little bit of the leftover I got in the back of my hand to rejudge. I will say that this, although it's a fan and it's pinched, if I want a little more precision, I will go in either with my Refer number 18 or even my Wayne Goss 01 foundation brush because it is a smaller brush head and I feel is a little more precise in application. So if you wanted to create dimension, you would use a smaller brush to get right into the hollows of the cheeks to get a little more color there so it doesn't spread out as much as if you would use the 45. But good so far, good so far. Now with powder, I actually did use this brush to apply powder. Not bad at all. So with my Pat McGrath under eye blurring powder, I could just tap it on. However, I much rather use an actual powder brush that's just a lot softer. Like let's say my Sonia G Designer Pro. I just feel it picks up the product a little more evenly and it just feels nicer on the skin, especially right under the lash line. That is my preference. If you do not use natural hair fibers, then you would obviously use a synthetic brush for that task. Now, during the latest Nordstrom or Neiman Marcus sale, I forgot which sale was happening, I picked up the other shade of the Chantecaille Real Bronze. I have Goa, but I was curious about Sirena. Let's see how this brush does. I'm a little scared, but it's gonna be all right. Is it picking up anything? Let me see. Yeah, it's picking up a little something. Picking up a little something. Let me see with what, Let's see what my Tuckahoe F04 does. Natural hair, I feel picks up gelée types of formulas a little, well, not all natural hair. This is fox. It picks up like goat, but feels like squirrel. It's amazing. But a more traditional goat hair brush like the Sonia G Master Face is a mixture of dyed and undyed. I think it's going to pick up a little more product than a synthetic bristle brush would. Looking good so far. I want to just put on some of the Fenty Cream blush on. Let's go in with Petal Pop, and I think that's a good route to take. Gonna scoop out a little bit here, put it on my back of my hands. Let's see what this brush does. Do I want to use, I feel like I need to give this a better chance and do that. I need to give it more opportunity to really like make it happen. I like that. I think I applied that really nicely actually. So good alternative brush to have besides the Fenty 125. For the rest of my face, ooh, well, let's use this baby right here. I'll go in with my medium pat brush. It does feel really nice on the skin, I have to say. It's really nice and whippy, but listen, if I had to choose, I would choose my Z9. Like, it's just, it picks up a lot more, and it's just a lot more feather light. Not taking anything away from this brush. I think actually this is a great brush if you do use synthetic fibers and you want that lightweight feel on the skin for loose powder application. And I'm sure it's really great for bronzer because this angle makes it really nice to use on the hollows of your cheeks. But the Z9, I mean the whole Z series, these fibers are unlike anything I've ever felt in my life. You might not be able to see a difference, but I definitely feel a difference. But this is still a good brush. It's still a good brush. Let's apply some of this highlight. What do we got? And we'll use this brush, okay? Twilight Sand and Candlelight. I'm gonna mix those two together. Pat that down. Oh, I'm so stupid. You probably already made this comment already. You're like, Alicia, you could have used the contour palette. I should have. I think these are beautiful highlights. And I like to tap, but I could see how this brush is good for whipping it on as well. Let's see, let me use, going in with my Detail Mini Cheek, just the Mini Cheek. I mean, this is an incredible shade. I'm actually gonna mix in a little bit of Golden Glow. Oh, I like that combination a lot. That's pretty. Just for fun, let's go in with the contour palette and let's see what we got. I wanna go in with a little bit of chiseled. We got some there, tap it off and just get on the hollows. Not too bad. I think that applies pretty evenly. Now what I use is over my F04. Probably not. But if I was in a pinch and that was the only brush I had, I most certainly can make it happen. I don't even know where that brush is now. I lost it. Here it is, right in front of me. I just think this moves a little smoother. It's a little more precise. But I'm just used to this type of brush, you know what I mean? Going in with the shade for under the jawline, many of you kindly advised me this is the shade that he likes to use jawline contour for. All right, we're looking glowy and showy, all right. I highly recommend that highlighter palette. This is a great highlighter palette. Man, I'm just really blown away by the textures, how shiny it is, and it does really emulate that glow from within. I'm taking Golden Glow, the more like actual golden color, and I love the texture of these because like he said, they are formulated to layer, so they're not going to look heavy on the skin and sit on top and work with each other. I think that's amazing. Definitely applied a little too much under my eye, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna whip that away. It's okay. Let's get into these eyes quickly now. On the lids, of course, I prep with my good old MAC Paint Pot and Soft Ochre. Look at this, look at all this highlight. That's nice. We're going in strong from the get. Shameless. Tap that on the outer third. Oh, wow. Hey, hey, hey. Hey. Start whipping it through. Taking Vibes and use that to just whisk the edges. Putting a little more Shameless into the crease. That was my Isam S33. Now going in with my G34 with some Vibes. Not bad. Sonia G, Worker 1 with New Fling. Tap that onto the outer V. layering it over Shameless. I'm gonna take it all over the lid, actually. Taking Arm Candy, pulling that across the lid. That's pretty. I can see the sparkles in there. I don't know if I would call these glitters. The texture is pretty thin, but it's opaque. So it's not, I don't see my skin through the shadow. A little bit of royalty under the lash line with my Synergy Worker Pro. Gonna whip it along. Oh, that's a pretty color. This color, Promiscuous. Oh my goodness. It is gorgeous. Like, there's like a pink flip in there. It's hard to see on camera, but it's nice. Lower inner third. With royalty, I think it's such a pretty combination. Silk Sheets is like an iridescent pink 003. It has like a slight pink shift to it, and I think over this shade is going to make the pink stand out even more. So it's going to look a little more neon in hue. Paparazzi. This gold. Ooh, that's pretty. Placing right here on the inner corner. I'm taking more Shameless, the magenta matte, and pulling it through the crease so it could look smoother. That's very nice. I thought this was pretty easy to achieve. All right, eye number 2 coming right up. Mediterranean with my Synergy Jumbo Blender. Tap it, tap, tap on the outer corner. Oh, excuse me. We are on our way, fam. On our way indeed. I have to say, these shadows are pretty easy to work with despite the color story. Despite the color story, the textures are easy to work with, and I feel the mattes are pretty easy to blend as well. I'm taking my S33 with the same Mediterranean shade and now just bringing it out a little bit more. Oh, that's pretty. That's a gorgeous color. I like the hue. It's not primary blue. It has like a little bit of like, it's almost like a smoky teal blue. I can't explain it. Ooh, Koi. Maybe we could use Koi to kind of blend out these edges with my G34. Maybe I'll use it to tap it here. I feel Koi is a shade we got to pack on. There, yeah, you gotta pack it on. This is something not to kind of whisk on, or else you're not gonna see what it has to offer. I'm patting it right under the brow here, on the edges of Mediterranean. This is with my W23. Oh, that's pretty. I like that a lot. First class, faux show. Or should we go peacock? Ooh, first class, first class, first class. More so on the outer part of the lid. And it's the same thing I experienced with Arm Candy. It's a thinner texture, but it has nice glitter to it. Not glitter. I wouldn't call this glitter. Riviera. Inner part of the eye. Nice combination. Ooh, that's pretty. Tuckahoe T7 with Secret Service. I think this has some glitz in it. It's like a matte base with silver glitter in it. Outer corner. I'm actually going to bring some up to the outer V of the top lid, or just upper lid. Hello, excuse me, you only have one lid, Alicia. And I think that will be really cohesive. That brought it well together. Yes. Now with peacock. Peacock right along lower lash line. We might use some W21. This you gotta pack on, or you could probably wet to get a little more intensity. And I'm using this shade as well to place it on the inner corner. More Koi, that like light blue matte. Fill up any holes that I might have missed. S33 to smooth everything out. All right, let's apply some lashes and I'll be right back. Okay, here's a closer look of the shadows. You can see it's great shine, and I really love the color of the magenta matte. The yellow, we're gonna have to go back in and experiment with, see if we could pack it on to get a little more punch from it. But for the most part, especially with the blues, I had a very easy time applying these shadows. And here's a wide shot of both eyes with all face products on. And even though this is a first impressions video, I definitely want to dive back in and do a more thorough review and just demo of the eyeshadow palette, even the highlighter palette, and apply all those shades at once. Do 4 looks with the eyeshadow palette with the close in tight shot. For the most part, I am happy with my products. You know how I am a die-hard fan of Tuckahoe, and there was no way I would expect Scott Barnes brushes to replace these in terms of feel and performance. And that's nothing against him. I think his brushes definitely have a role in somebody's life who only uses synthetic brushes, whether it be for ethical reasons or just for skin sensitivity reasons. I think these are one of the better synthetic brushes that I have tried. By far my most favorite is the 65, and I definitely want to go in again with another video because I want to use the eye brushes a little more thoroughly. I didn't really get to do a wing look, but I can only imagine how easy it will be with this brush. So stay tuned. This is not the only Scott Barnes video I'm doing. This was a very intense haul video with demos that could have waited, but it's fine because I'm me. So I will do another video using these eye brushes and with specific wing style techniques. Definitely will go in with the brushes again. As for the number 64, I think this is a great brush for highlighter, and I thought it was really great to apply the cream blushes on. I wouldn't use it to replace any of my Chico holder brushes, as I said, but I could definitely find a place for this in my makeup routine because I think it is quite soft for a synthetic brush, and I think the bristles move quite smoothly for it being made of synthetic fibers. And I love the 65. I think this is now going to be my go-to foundation application brush for more precise placement of cream contour or highlight. I think I would use a smaller brush because I just feel more comfortable doing so, but for like that bigger bronze application, I think this will work just fine. If I were using my Fenty cream blushes or even bronzers, if I was using the Shade and Illuminate, I'll probably use a smaller brush because the Tom Ford formula, it has a little more impact and pigment to it, so I would use a more precise brush. As far as the palettes, Glowy and Showy is marvelous. Where is this freaking palette? The textures of these highlighters, they are really something special. They're so thin. I know is a word that's has a negative connotation nowadays, but I think thin works for highlights, especially if you have texture on the skin. This is going to give you that brightness and that shine without the texture showing, and I think it's just such a nice silky feel. But again, look at that shine without being heavy and powdery on the skin and not it accentuating that texture. Gonna have a lot of fun with this as well, so stay tuned. If you want a specific video just using all the highlights, we'll do more in-depth swatches and get into that. And I really like the color bomb. I thought this is a fun palette. We didn't use all the shadows. I wanted to use the shadows that intrigued me the most, but I think he made color really approachable in terms of performance and texture. The powders are not intense, and I feel the metallics are really easy to apply with finger. I usually like to apply them with the finger, but you could experiment with the brush, and again, we can go more in depth with the video specific to this palette and with those different techniques. So let me know down below. Thank you so much for bearing with me on this crazy long video that was just supposed to be like, look what I got. I'm like, no, look what I got. Let's play and do all the things at the same time. Thank you, fam, for joining me. I hope all is well with you. Let me know down below if you picked up anything from the Scott Barnes, whether it be the flash sale or his birthday flash sale. And until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I'll see you in here again with another review, tutorial, haul, demo, everything rolled into one. Get ready with me or late night chit chat. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.